All right. So, as far as we can tell, we're good. We
Baby.
live. Let's do it. Hey, so
Oh, we live on here
we
too.
live here too. Hey, what's up, Guan? Bonjour, Famil. Bum Jonas here.
And Anjali.
And we are Boundless Spirit. Like it never left.
I was about to say Bon Jonas though.
We've been sipping, don't you?
Just a little bit. It's
Now
a
look.
Saturday evening. You know what I'm saying?
Quick disclaimer before we dive into anything. Nothing that we talk about is meant to be advice, and it's not even meant to be a suggestion. It's really just meant to be a jump starter to a conversation. We're actually inviting you into our journey.
Yeah.
And the whole point of Boundless Spirit is normally on the 15th of the month. We're a little late, but better late than never. Actually, not even that late, really. Just a day late.
Yeah,
We're good. We're right on time. But the point of Boundless Spirit, we get together once a month, and we like to talk about our journey with spirituality and mental health. We bring up different topics, we run through different things. The whole time we're just looking for your input, and we're asking you to join the conversation at any point in time. We're on Instagram and YouTube doing our thing, and we're streaming. And we are on episode 29.
29, y'all.
Holy shit.
We about to be 30.
Let's just bask in that for a moment. We're not gonna be on too long, but let's just bask in that for a moment before we dive into the topic.
And you know what? Before we even get too deep into it, I want to go ahead and just pray like we always do. You know, I like to open it up right and just give all praises to the Most High. So go ahead, relax your shoulders down, unclench your jaw. Go ahead and drink in a deep breath. And exhale through the mouth. Relax. Spirit, thank you. Thank you for this moment. Thank you for this body and this life and this opportunity to be a vessel and to just deliver a message. And I open my heart to you. May I relay any message that is meant to be heard today. I give so much ashe.
Inshallah, let's go. I love it. Ooh, felt like a download, shiver, whatever. I don't know what to call it. It felt, All right, get my sip on here. We sipping today.
I keep looking at all my ADHD ads.
Like, which one do I look at?
Yeah, literally.
Don't look at that one. That was gonna.
I know. I'm like, huh?
That was gonna. Fuck you up. Look over there. Over there.
Yeah,
Any one of those.
Yeah.
So normally I get out the way and I let you handle the topics, but I wanted to throw some topics at you this time.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, I think they're all going to kind of run together. You know how I love segues, y'all. So let me just kind of drop off all of them, and then we can come back and piece them together. But I really want to talk about, ultimately, beauty standards, right? I want to talk about projecting in any way that means to us. And I always kind of lean on you for support in terms of, like, definitions when it comes to some of this stuff, right?
To help break it down.
There's a sense of self-harm that I want to talk about when it comes to projecting. And then I also want to talk about, which I know you guys may be tired of this topic, I want to talk about capitalism. The way I'm going to frame it is commerce versus capitalism. But I just think it's important that we discuss, especially going into the holidays. Like, we're about to hit anything after. As soon as Halloween is done, we are peak holiday season, right?
Right,
you know.
La. The minute it's midnight on Halloween.
Sorry, I don't mean it like that, but it feels that way though, right? Like, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
But I think overall, my point in the different things I want to touch on is the effect that it has on us. Whether it be in this time of year or all year round, or you know what, I'm going to pick on something we talked about off camera, how we can end up feeling like we haven't done something or enough of something.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Shout out to my co-host, because I just feel like this is a great time to have this pod before the holidays take place, because it's honestly something that I've like really struggled with in myself since having kids. Is like, first of all, like, I'm a very intentional person.
Okay.
So I'm like, what are we?
Right.
We've talked about this before on the pod. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know how I am. But like, what are we doing it for? And then it's like because I'm aware of the fact that it's the capitalistic way of getting rid of all their inventory at the end of the year and getting us to spend a bunch of money that don't make no sense. And then on top of that, as we talked about before, we're meant to be in tune with the seasons. We're not meant to be hustling and bustling in the winter months, but they set it up like that, and it's a great segue into the fact that the root of all of this is like lack thereof, you know, and the root of capitalism is the lack thereof.
Yes.
It's like they are
Yes.
going to capitalize on everything, and that's the thing. This is what I realized: that everything in life is like the yin yang.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So
Duality.
there is. It's like we were talking about earlier, how social media, how on one side it's giving everybody a voice, and that's beautiful. That's dope. We get to hear from people that we wouldn't, you know what I'm saying, connect in a way that we wouldn't have. On the other hand, it's giving everybody a voice, where everybody thinks that you know it's their way or
That they should like.
Yeah.
Just because you know what.
I totally took a tangent. That was real.
No, it's a but
I was
perfect
just
tangent.
yeah. And I was just gonna say, like, here in America, I've noticed that it's interesting how we like missed our last month, and I feel like it was divinely aligned because I needed to like kind of follow through on some lessons that I've been learning, you know.
Okay.
And I just been learning, like it connects to what we're talking about. What I've been learning is that anytime you are reaching for something outside of you to acknowledge you, see you, love you, allow you, accept you, all of these things, you are giving your power away.
It's like literally.
It's just literally like, and then you leave yourself like susceptible to constantly fall into the pattern of like, nobody's there for me, nobody shows up for me, I am here doing this by myself, which is just the biggest illusion on this
And when you do find somebody or something, you
push them away.
You either push them away. Well, either way you push them away, but you either draw away and you're super guarded and defensive, or you just over pour into the situation, right?
Yeah.
And I, perfect segue, y'all, because of I want to kind of break it down in order in a sense, right? Just because we're trying to make sense of things. But if we start with beauty standards, number one, my concern, my question is like, where does it come from? Who determines it? Like, I'm just, if I'm being honest, as a man, as a grown man with children, with grandchildren, nobody asked me if booty shorts was okay. Nobody asked me if Jesus cleats and socks was okay. We just, shit just happens, right? Yeah. So, the low-hanging fruit is to pick on celebrities of any type, whether it be musicians or actresses or whatever, right? But like, when did it become okay to wear super long lashes for 4 days in a row? Or when did it become okay to like do the waist trainers that are hurting?
Yeah. Well, I feel like beauty standards go way back in a lot of like, I mean, it's rooted in a lot of different things, but I would say specifically talking about like America and capitalism, the shit's rooted in like
from the beginning.
Well, yeah, but it's European standards of beauty, but it's really they say it's European standards, but ultimately they steal everything from the black woman. So kind of like, where did it? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but I feel like all of that, it just comes like they do not. In America, we are not taught to support our natural, truest self. We're not taught to love that. We're taught to hate that, or to self-loathe that, because that feeds into their planning, their
because
money
if you hate
system.
yourself, you're definitely going to want to take my money, take my resources to help me look better.
Yes, because even
better.
outside of like people, when I say reaching for something, like something I've noticed with me is like food. Certain foods have emotional like connections to them. You know, I remember eating this with blase
So then it
type
has
shit.
more of a nostalgia.
Oh yeah. So like coffee for me, like in the morning, like that's when me and my dad would have the best conversations. We would drink our little coffee together. You know what I'm saying?
Coffee's extra.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I recognize we live in this consumerist society that when I'm going through a space where like I'm feeling the need to like grasp on to the external.
Yeah.
I drink a lot of motherfuckers. I buy a lot of coffee. Like, and I be like, you know, buying coffee is expensive. You know?
Yeah, man.
But I say all that to say,
retail
like,
therapy.
I'm like, dang, this is. But even the act of going and buying a $7, $8 coffee is a very American capitalistic. Like,
and what's just as American
you know?
about it is to then turn around and see. Now I might be on a high horse here, but which one? Never mind. But we're made to feel better. We're taught, whether it be self-taught or externally, to feel better by that retail therapy of that $8 coffee, right?
Yeah.
But then we're told, we're scolded even, for buying that $8 coffee.
Yeah.
You know, like, well, maybe if you have less of those coffees.
Exactly.
Well, but I need the coffee to feel good.
I'm so glad we're having this conversation because something that I've been sitting with that like Spirit has put on my heart is like the spirit of judgment. And like, what is that? Like
projecting.
Very much so, because what I recognize is when you judge something in somebody else, it's usually you're so unaware of it in yourself that you can't even see like that it's a reflection of you. But you literally can only see that in them because it's a reflection of you. Like, literally.
It's a mirror. It's 100% a mirror.
Literally.
So, and that is, I don't want to stray away from the beauty standard too much, but the idea of that projection, though, they feed into each other because we are fighting to, and I say we because men now have beauty standards of their own that they have to attain. I mean, men are getting liposuction and getting themselves cut in different ways now. So
even not to cut you off, but even coming from my generation, like your generation. With men, it was always like, okay, as a woman, you could go to Payless shoe store and get you a $5 pair of shoes and rock it and make it look cute. As a man, y'all had to have your kicks right. You have to have the Levi's, you know, 501s, all that shit. Like,
don't step out in the
like
dusty
as a
shirt.
man, like the beauty standard has always been super high because it's not a lot. But then they also don't expect you to do a lot. So it's like you spend. That's how capitalism gets y'all.
It's high, but not high.
It's like, spend all this money on your hat and your outfit and all of that because you ain't gonna wear the makeup, so we gonna charge you.
And we're supposed to be simple men. We're supposed to be simple, rustic men.
It's the duality of life. You can't escape duality.
Except the my problem with that, I love the duality of life. I love the whole aspect of duality.
Oh, somebody tapping in.
No, we
hello.
Hey, salutes to my man. Chop it up, hip hop man.
Hey, he always tapping in. We appreciate you.
Who's that one? I can't say that name correctly. I can't say that name. It up, man. But I appreciate you tapping in. My eyes, my vision.
Yeah, I think I need some new content. I ain't gonna lie.
Appreciate y'all tapping in, man. Boundless Spirit. I would say the story, but it's our journey of mental health and spirituality, man. We have convos and talk about shit. Right now we're talking about capitalism and the mental effects that it creates on us. But some of the linear notes, the data points I would say that we want to touch on, first of all, is beauty standards. And we're kind of moving into projecting. And with that, one of the other pieces is self-harm. But I want to stick on projecting a little bit as it relates to beauty standards because one of the things you mentioned was like it's literally a mirror, right? We're talking or looking, judging. That was the thing, judging, right?
Yeah.
And that is one of the biggest aspects of not only the projection that we have as our American culture, but the beauty standards that we have is the judgment. Like, I just said to myself, like, there's no way that I would be caught with a dusty shirt. because of the judgment that I'm gonna have on myself
Right.
and the idea that, oh my God, nobody.
Right.
First of all, nobody gives a fuck. Nobody. Can we curse here? Yeah. But,
Oh, definitely.
but like, at the end of the day, nobody gives a fuck, but yet we still have that strong sense of self-shame if we don't like have ourselves looking right.
Oh my gosh! So I want to talk about this because like the Mike Tyson fight or whatever happened last night. I wouldn't know about that if it wasn't for my man. But hey, I did watch this video though. This kid asking Mike Tyson like, "What's your legacy?" I'm sure most people have seen it, right?
A fire video.
Okay, so personally, everybody was judging Mike Tyson. Like, why would you respond to a kid like that? Da 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 da. For me, I was like, bruh is speaking facts.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was dope to see somebody like of his caliber understand that even though he is this figure in 100 years from now,
Who?
and it's like that's something that I recognize, and it's like when you understand that your importance lies in the present. Like we're always, it goes back to everything we're talking about. Like we're always looking to the next thing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's right here. I explained that to you the other day because my son he said I can't wait to be 6. I want to be bigger and I can be better and listen better and like all this stuff. I said that's what's up, baby. I said that's what's up. But the only place you can be better is right here. Because when you turn 6, you gonna be right here. You gonna be right here. Like the present, the future becomes the present. So
and you're always working in it anyway.
This is the only place you could change from, you know. And I bring that up into also like America does not give space to enjoy the present. It's always, well, what can I buy next? And what's the next holiday? And what's the next? How can I? You know what I'm saying?
The way the wheel turns actually keeps us distracted from the present as much as possible.
What it does.
Because
I hope somebody's tapping
like you said, it's always what can you buy next? What's coming up next?
I definitely understand
and yet,
what Tyson was saying. Oh God.
Hell yeah. Tyson was real.
Yeah, he do a lot of ayahuasca and stuff. Like bro is tapped in. You know what I'm saying? Like
But we don't care about the present. We celebrate the future, or we think about what can we do next? What's coming up next? Hey, what you working on next?
Or are we stuck on the past?
Bicentennial, tricentennial, anniversaries, birthdays.
Yeah.
No knock on anniversaries as a married man.
I think all of those things are important.
But we don't stop. And we can't stop. We won't stop. Like moving, which unfortunately is the wheel of capitalism, right?
Yes. I love that you said that.
We just can't.
Yeah.
And to hop off of it would take literally an act of Congress, the force of nature, in order to like, because one of the things you mentioned off camera was that the entire scope of our nation, which is our culture, right, in a lot of ways, if it's not influenced by hip hop, it's definitely influenced by American being American, right?
Right.
And it's 100% built off capitalism.
Yeah.
You can color it any way you want. You can add a different word, slavery, all these other things, Jim Crow, Civil War, fine.
They were capitalizing on genocide.
Capitalism itself is built off of the sense of efficiencies in profitability and production at the exploitation of cheap labor.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And so my problem with that is, and I don't want to get stuck on that, because ultimately I think there's a bigger conversation to have, but we're stuck in this loop of not feeling good enough about ourselves. We don't feel like we look good. We are always self-shaming ourselves, and we always feel like the other person is too, right?
Yeah.
Which there's all kinds of different reasonings behind that, but it's just like, from a spiritual standpoint, and this is where I'm gonna put you on the hot spot. If we can recognize that we are projecting, and we can recognize that maybe we are practicing bad beauty standards, what are some ways that we can slowly curb those features?
I would say that I would say this, that as a woman, and growing up in this society, and like going through a natural journey and all of that, like I like lashes a little bit. I wear them every once in a while. I never wear foundation because it breaks me out. But I'm saying all this to say, like, I feel like it's just about falling in love with yourself, like the self that you were gifted. Because I know that when I used to model before I was a model,
Okay.
and
So
when
you understand the world of makeup.
yeah, and my mom, like my mother was like, she literally won't leave the house without a face of makeup on.
Okay.
So I
You
definitely,
get it.
like I definitely understand that, but at the same time, I just recognize like I've went through phases where if I was wearing makeup consistently, then I would be like, oh shit, I need to like take a break because I'm like, now I'm looking at myself like, oh, I need to put some lashes on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but we live in this society that's like so unrealistic, like to take it off of men because men get it too 100%. But as a woman in America, it is like it is sickening, bro. Like because it's like if you're skinny, then you're sickly and you're not eating enough and you're not taking care of it. And I went through this in my own experience because my body has always fluctuated, especially having kids. Like I get real thick and then shit, you see me, I get real small. So it's like going through those phases. I would recognize that when I was thicker, people would be like, oh dang, you thick, you know what I'm saying? And then it's like you get smaller and they like, oh, you small. It's always
But even
like
when
you
you're
can't
thick,
never.
there's only a couple sandwiches away from being like, hey.
But even within myself,
active?
because that's I'm speaking all outwardly, but even within myself as a woman and growing up in the society, it's like when I'm thick, I'm like, damn, like I need to like, you know what I'm saying? Like just it's a natural instinct, and then when I'm small, I'm like, dang, I need to like do some squats.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like let me, and like, I was gonna say.
This whole society is smoking mirrors. Yup, I love that. Most people are self-centered and don't even know it. Yup, that's another one. That's my man Chop though.
No, because people, I appreciate you tapping in, but because people really, this is something I recognize. Like people really be thinking that they are the center of the universe because they're the center of their universe. And like even what you were saying, like thinking that people judging you and shit, like because that's something that, like I don't know, like I've just been going through in postpartum that I ain't never really experienced before. I never really gave a fuck before, but now I'd be like, oh, did I come off like? And I'm like, what the fuck?
That's a little Pisces too.
Yeah, it's very Pisces. It's very Pisces. But I just recognize it's like, who gives a motherfucking fuck? Was you trying to be weird? Was you trying to be rude? Was you trying to like?
Because if you was,
be
then it came through.
Yeah, like if that's what you was trying to do, then maybe you should feel bad. But if your intention was to be genuine and cool, then oh well. And like something else I noticed is that like as a Pisces and like coming off of people pleasing, we always talk about this because I think that people pleasing comes from everything we're talking about.
It does. The projection, the standards,
thinking that you're never enough. I have to overcompensate, overdo, overextend, like coming up off all of that. And especially as a woman in this society.
Especially as
like,
a woman.
Because listen, y'all, like, I was raised by my daddy. He did an amazing job.
The whole point of a woman in this society and in most societies is to please in some kind of way. And I mean that respectfully. But whether you're pleasing a child or whether you're pleasing your man or pleasing your family, you are literally sculpted, molded, and taught to please.
Yeah, and they literally act like the women who choose to not bear children or to not. Yeah, and it's just ridiculous. I personally just want to say, just because we on our pod, like, because we're talking about all the pressures, and I just think being in the motherhood space and the birthing community and all of that, like, it ain't no motherfucking pressure like the moms against the moms, bro. Like, that shit is like piranhas in a motherfucking time. I'd be like, she's like, oh, your formula fed, oh, your breastfed, oh, like I'm just like, God damn, you know what I'm saying?
But we fed though. Can we just be fed?
That's exactly. And like this society, I just realized like sometimes, bro, you just gotta slow down because you'll really come to a space and be just always thinking something is wrong
or something needs to be done,
and something does need to be done. This is what I realized. This is the balance of life. Like something do need to be done. There's always something to do. Don't ever think like But Rome wasn't built in a day, and I say that because I just went on a whole bunch of tangents. But I say that to bring it all back around to what you were saying about like a change in Congress or whatever. And I just think in order to evolve our capitalism, um, it is not a process that, like, as humans, we think of things and we want it to be instantaneous. And something that I've recognized is that life is about duty, and duty is about the tortoise versus the hare. You know what I'm saying? Like, anything built fast is gonna fall just as fast. Anything is built with time, energy, consistency,
effort,
all of that. And so I feel like when it comes to dismantling a society that's
like in this case a
that
systemic
systemic, that is built off of oppression, and like in order to do that, it's not something that we're gonna see in our lifetime. It's probably not something that your grandchildren is gonna see in their lifetime. Like, they're gonna see the beginning of it, but like we are at the end. And something I recognize like about this realm on earth is just like shit is, it's like watching paint dry. Cause like I'm a Pisces, so I'm very like, I like the fantasy world. I want things to be like,
well, because like, we want to jump to that transition period when everything.
But it goes back to being present and like realizing like it's the little things. Like,
it is the paint drying.
It's literally, it's the paint. Literally, it's walking outside and being like, damn, this cloud shape is a shape that's never existed before and will never exist again. And I'm getting to experience it in this moment. And this version of myself will never exist again. And I'm getting, you know what I'm saying? And it's like just coming back to like, everything is always right here.
Right.
The only time that is not right here is when your mind is somewhere else. Like, but if you're right here,
and that's the thing, in a sense, that I want to touch on. The mind being somewhere else, but I think what's most important is that we don't take care of ourselves in the process of searching to reach these standards, or to live in this scenario, in this society, in this environment that once, in a lot of ways, it drives us to self-harm.
Yes.
And in a very insidious manner.
Yes.
The hustler mentality, which it's what I live, is what I breathe, is what I eat, is what I know. And I can tell you right now, in this point in time, in this period of the year, I should be resting. The holidays time should be time that we're chilling with our family, we are recharging, make plans, we're getting started for things that are going to happen, but there shouldn't be this anxiety of like, oh my God, what's next? How do we make it through this season? You know what I mean? And that isn't just a me thing. It's a everybody thing.
No, literally, like, after becoming a parent, especially having multiple kids, like Christmas is literally like, I don't even want to think about that. I don't know how you keep it.
I got four. I'm sorry. Four of them. My man, I'm sorry. See, look, add on. Because this is, I don't want to sound dark, but like, from my perspective, this is the worst time of year for parents.
It really is. It's so stressful, and it's like your kids don't even understand that, like, how money works.
They have no
and it's
clue.
Like, and you don't even really want them to. You want them to be innocent and enjoy that phase of life, because it's very short.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But also, with that being said, as a parent, it just be like, bro, like, Christmas is crazy.
Get me out of here.
It's insane. It's insane. And then it's like, we wanted to talk about like the barter system.
Yes.
And something that I wanted to bring up, that like I've tried to make a tradition in my home, is during Christmas, like, I like to give people gifts that I've made, or like, I have a whole healing wellness business. So it's like, where it's like, I want to give you something that's actually like intentional, and like, I don't know. But I just wanted to say that I think Christmas time, I just wanted to.
That is a perfect time.
It's a great time to use the barter system.
That's a great segue.
Like,
let's tap into that. Let's tap into that. Because I think what's and for me, it actually speaks to the backwards duality that we're taught in this system that we're in. Because Thanksgiving and Christmas
Tuh.
are meant to be. I mean, at the end of the day, what we do, what do we do? We're exchanging, right?
Yeah.
At Thanksgiving, you have family and friends you get together, and it's a traditional potluck, is it not?
Yeah.
It's a national potluck.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, I feel like Thanksgiving is really hard for me
Right.
because I feel like I love the idea of having a day about gratitude. I think every day should be about gratitude. I think that if every day, every human woke up and wrote their gratitude list, we would have a different world.
There
You
we
know what
go.
I'm saying? But Thanksgiving, this is my thing. So, like, talking about, this society being rooted in racism and all of that, like, our holidays are rooted in the same shit. And so
Yes.
sometimes it'd be hard to be like, okay, I'm excited
Gung-ho
to be
about
with
it.
my family. I'm excited we have this day off from this bullshit.
Yeah.
And that we should be able to do this every Sunday or whatever. How community, like, how that should really be. But and it's like we don't celebrate things that are like the day of the dead. You know what I'm saying? Like, we talk about Halloween. And Halloween is great, but we don't talk about the day of the dead.
No, we don't actually
That's celebrating
acknowledge
ancestors and
Yeah,
how
that's-
Kwanzaa is based in actual like morals and values and
No,
like
Kwanzaa's pushed
instilling,
off as a joke.
yeah,
And
and the shit is beautiful.
And
like,
Easter is pushed on, which has way more in-depth things to talk about. Is meant to be more of like, hey, you need to go to church and we need to hunt Easter eggs.
yeah,
And
let's fill our bodies up with a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. So me and my doula was talking about this, about how Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, it goes back to capitalism. They capitalize on absolutely everything. So it's crazy how when it starts getting cold and people start getting sick, you have a candy holiday, followed by a pie holiday, followed by whatever the fuck holiday, and what it is
Overfilled
people
protein
are
holiday.
actually overdosing on sugar.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And like that's why we're getting sick. I just seen it with my own kids.
It's,
You know
and it's
what I'm
it
saying?
is
Like,
actually sugar is one of our worst fucking
Oh,
addictions. Which I think we've done an episode on that, but we might have to bring that back around if we
I
haven't.
don't think we have. That would be a good
We
one.
need to work on that. We need to
Yeah.
work on that one.
Yeah.
So I do want to dive into, because we gotta running low on
Oh yeah,
charge here.
we running low on time too.
Oh, good.
So,
We're good. We're okay. We're in the home stretch, man.
We're in the home
So,
stretch.
kind of a quick segue before we get to the next one, or a bit of a tangent. I want to take a moment and just, number one, shout out Imperial Roots because of what they do and why they do it and how they do it, right? So, number one, the idea is that there are tarot readings. There are cards that you can, not cards, but candles that you can get in contact, that you can contact them with and get a hold of. There is yoga available as well. Okay. So, but I just want to take a moment and shout out, because not only are we talking about it, but a lot of ways we're living it, right? We're trying to manifest and make these things happen. We're trying to curb the idea of it's okay to harm yourself in the act of living in capitalism.
Yeah.
It's just not necessary.
Yeah.
We are running super low. All right, so look, here's the thing. Let's talk about real quickly, guys. Or no, I don't even think we can talk about it. We're gonna die out here. So on the way out, real quickly, I just want you to kind of express your thoughts on how the barter system works, and is there an alternative to capitalism that you think would allow you to still kind of live the life you live?
This is something that I actually contemplate all the time, because I would love to move to like Costa Rica with my family and live off the land and like do all that stuff. But I know in reality, it's very rewarding, but it's very rewarding because in duality it's very taxing as well in a different way.
Right.
And so I think that I recognize at this point in my life that the grass is greener mentality is just not accurate, because no matter where you go, life is there.
Yeah.
But I do think that there is something that is better than capitalism, and the reality is that everything rises and falls. You know what I'm saying? So even like what they said what Mufasa said in The Lion King, like every king will rise and fall. You know, and so it's like it's only destined for it to fall and something new to come about, just like civilizations have been doing since the beginning of time. But once again, I think that we live in the dimension of paint drying. So it takes time, and I think that even within yourself, the thing is that just because it's not happening quickly doesn't mean it's not happening.
There it is.
And also, I wanted to just finish out by talking about how the self-harm. I think that a lot of times we self-harm in order to go with the crowd.
Yes.
Because that's what everybody else is doing.
Yes.
And just as somebody who is rebellious to a lot of things in the society, but who is also grateful for the society in a lot of ways.
Because we're afforded a lot of things.
Yeah, we are afforded a lot of things. You know, like I said, the grass is never greener, you know. But I just say all that to say, like, the self-harm comes in when you are betraying yourself. So always contact self first. Contact the God within first. Or whoever your God is. You know, like, that's something that I just really been recognizing is that, like,
learning yourself and loving yourself.
Yeah, that's what it is, because when you love yourself, it doesn't matter who likes your decisions, as long as you're doing the right thing for you.
And it
You know what I'm
feels
saying?
like you're, like you said, if you go in there trying to be an asshole, then it's gonna show.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and I think that holding yourself accountable is important, because that's the other part of